Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Iconic with me, Danny Pellegrino. I'm so excited. I'm here with Devon Sawa. He's got a new movie out this Friday called Black Friday, which I saw and is great. Devon, first of all, how are you today?
I'm excellent. I'm really good.
I'm so excited. I'm
It's
nervous.
Been a long day. It's been a long day, but I'm okay. I'm good.
I'm nervous to talk to you. Of course.
Don't be nervous. Crazy.
Devon, everyone in my generation, which I know you've heard this a million times, but every single girl and gay man like myself, you were it for us.
I love it.
You were it.
I'm flattered and lucky.
And I got to tell you, I'm a little off my game today because last night I wasn't sleeping great. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I was at that point around 4:30 in the morning where I'm like, I'm just going to get up. Let's just wake up. Let's start the day because I'm not going to be able to fall back asleep. And then I knew I was interviewing you today. And I had heard you talk about this movie called Hunter x Hunter. And I was like, you know what? I'll put that on. Maybe I'll like put it on and kind of fall asleep. It's on Hulu. And it fucked me up, Devon. It was so good.
I'm sorry.
It was so good though.
I don't know. I would have steered you in a different direction, but like, that's how you started your day.
It's how I started. Literally at 5 a.m. this morning, I put on Hunter x Hunter on Hulu. And it's a really crazy, gory, amazing movie, but it's very intense. And normally it's not even the kind of thing that I would watch, but I was like, oh, I gotta, do my research for Devon here. Yeah. And you were so good in it. And also seeing Chucky, Black Friday, all of these movies that all of this work you've been doing, you've transitioned so sort of flawlessly into these amazing adult roles from a lot of these things that we knew you from that you acted in as a kid. When was the point where it really clicked for you that you wanted this to be like a career, lifelong thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I never thought it wasn't going. Well, there was a time in my 20s where I stepped away for 4 or 5 years and didn't know whether I was going to get back into acting. But once I got back into it, I know that I have to reset and reinvent all the time. And I'm going to have to do it again when I turn 50 and again when I'm 60 and when I'm 70. I give a lot of credit to this latest reboot to Sean Linden, who's the director of Hunter x Hunter, ironically, for telling me, grow the beard, grow the hair. We're going to ground you. You're going to be real. You're 40. You're in your 40s. You're going to smoke. You're a different guy now. And I till that point, I was holding on to the young rookie cop roles and the this and that, and it was time to do a reset and get into the more adult stuff and start aging gracefully and being that guy now. So I'm 40. I'm in my 40s. I'm a dad. I'm ready to own it.
And you really look better than ever too. I know you just posted a photo on your Instagram and it's like, you look phenomenal. And that movie, the ending is really fucked up too. I just want to let everyone know. It's crazy, but good.
Yeah, it's a gut punch. When it doesn't read like that on the page. The page is like 2 lines long, and it's like this happens, and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's a good ending. But then you see it in real life, and it's like, ooh, it's really a gut punch.
You mentioned sort of having to reinvent yourself. Is there one stage or a certain type of role that you're like dying to get into, or is there one project you're maybe trying to get off the ground now, or what's like a dream kind of role for you?
I want to start doing crime stuff. I've always been into horror, and I do a lot of horror, and I try to do as much horror as possible. But I want to start getting into crime stuff, like mafia or mobby stuff, or crooked cops and that kind of. I want to start exploring that world. Seven and the Fincher stuff and all that kind of world. I started watching these YouTube videos late at night, like mob stuff. And I'm like, I want to do stuff like this now. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. But I always return to horror eventually, at least once a year.
Chucky's amazing too. I just have to let everyone know the Chucky TV series. I'm a couple episodes behind, but I'm blown away by how good it is. I think it's an amazing series. Do you think you'll do another season of it? I mean, I don't know how your character sort of ends up at the end of this, but would you guys want to do a season 2?
Don Mancini has talked to me about a season 2. He hasn't told me his full ideas. He wants me back. We'll see what happens with the studio and the network. And I would bet that it goes again for sure. That's for sure. Whether I go back or not is kind of will be talked about. I'm in Don Mancini's plans. I couldn't be happier to be a part of. You hear Chucky's going to be a TV show, but it's important this show is important for a lot of different ways. It's not just a show about a killer doll. We kind of use the killer doll to explore some important stories and some stuff that only, Don Mancini could do right. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this kind of storytelling, from the bottom of my heart.
It's amazing too, within the horror genre, to have an LGBTQ lead character.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing, and it's important. And that's why I'm so happy to be on, this side of history and telling these stories and being inclusive and no one could have done it like it's done in a way that feels authentic and real. And that's because Don Mancini is behind it. So,
I hope you don't hate talking about this, but I got to tell you, Casper was so important to me.
There you go.
This is from Pizza Hut. This is my own personal collection. This was it was like a hand puppet, although you can't really move it.
Did you have this all this year? Did you kind of pick it up along the way?
This was I'm like a pop culture junkie. So I have all sorts of pop culture toys, and I have all the McDonald's, Burger King stuff. This was Pizza Hut, I think.
Yeah, I've signed it. Somebody gave me one of those to sign. They gave it to me and I signed it, and I was like, wow, where is this from?
If I ever meet you in person, Devon, I'm going to bring it.
Please do.
Do you, I have a bunch of Casper questions, and I'm sure you hate talking about it. You've probably talked about it a million times, but I just want to run through these quickly because you probably have touched on a lot of this. Specifically, did you meet Spielberg? Because I know he produced it. So
he produced that and Little Giants. I went from Casper to Little Giants, and he did both of them, and he was there on set a lot. He didn't direct either of them, but he was Amblin, produced them. He was running Amblin. I don't know if he still runs Amblin, but he was there a lot.
At that age, were you able to grasp this is Steven Spielberg, or what was that like?
Yeah, I was 14 when I did Casper, and Spielberg was at the top of his game. He had E.T., the Indiana Jones movies. I mean, he was there was the first name to come up when you said director was Spielberg. So I knew exactly what it was. My grandmother, my parents were out of town, and we got the call saying we'd like you to come down to Hollywood to meet with Steven Spielberg, and my grandma was the only one that could take me. And so we got on this plane. They flew us first class. We've never been on first class, of course. And she was putting dinner rolls in her purse, and we would get off, and we're staying at the Universal Hilton or Sheraton, whatever it was at the time. And it was and my grandmother could care less about Spielberg. We walked on to the soundstage, and there was a house built inside the soundstage with a roller coaster in it, and my grandmother was just blown away, and I knew, he was sitting down the step in his little ET hat or something, and I knew I was meeting Spielberg, and she could care less. She was in this world of Hollywood. It
was such a huge movie, and I wonder, did you have any concept of first of all, how many days did you shoot on that? It must have been
3. I was there for a week or 2 or something like that, and I think I shot 3 days. And I did school.
So could you even imagine that it would have lasted that short of time would still be something that people latched onto?
It felt huge to me. It felt because it had been it was by far the biggest thing I'd ever done, but also Universal City Walk was just built then. So they had these gigantic posters and billboards and neon lights, and I had never seen anything like that being from Canada. It felt like it was just this massive thing. It was just and so I thought it was going to be this huge thing, and it was as big as I thought it was. First class. I'm sitting first class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just you get in a limo. I was never been in a limo before. You drive to Universal Studios. You walk through City Walk. It was all nutty.
Wild. Yeah. And did you take dance class? You must have had to take dance lessons for that. No, nothing. No. Oh my God. So you just knew how to
I'm a natural dancer.
Right.
No, it was,
I told you I was a good dancer. Remember, that was your line. I remembered it.
Yeah. It felt like a magical couple of days. Listen, you're 14 years old. Christina Ricci is a very cute, nice girl. It felt magical. It felt magical what we were doing.
Was there ever a little romance between the two of you? I remember hearing a story. Maybe it was on Evan Ross Katz's podcast.
Yeah,
you guys went to the movies or something.
Or he'll dig it out of me.
Yeah.
No, there was no romance between Christina and I. We became very close friends. There was no romance on Now and Then. I was a late bloomer as far as like, that kind of stuff. And so I wasn't really, I don't know. It was all kid. It felt like summer camp.
Now and Then was also a really influential movie to my generation. And I interviewed Rosie ODonnell on the show, and she told me her character was Christina Ricci's character as an adult. And the movie sort of spanned these two timelines. And she had said in the original script that the character of Roberta, also played by Christina Ricci, was a lesbian. And then they sort of shifted gears. And I wondered, you were the love interest of the Roberta character in it. Yeah. And I wondered, was that something you were aware of in the original script, or do you remember any of that?
No, because I was just just a co-star kind of, I wasn't even there the entire shoot time. I think I was there for maybe a little over half. So I didn't get the conversations going on between, who the producers were, which was Demi Moore and the Todd sisters and Leslie Linklater, who was the director. I wasn't in on, I wasn't old enough to be in. I didn't know that. But the movie still was ahead of its time as far as everything, having a predominantly female crew, predominantly female cast, and being just a phenomenal film. We were really ahead of our time.
It's so fascinating because I don't think that movie was really that well reviewed, but I think there's women and gay men again. That movie means so much to us.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably because it was so revolutionary and something that was so rare to see on screen, a largely female cast. I think it was a female director too, right?
Female director, female DP, all female producers, except for a couple of the executives who were at the studio. But it was predominantly female. All all our moms were there. It was a lot of females on that shoot, which was actually a very, very great shoot to be on, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
a very comfortable shoot to be on. So,
any crushes on that set? Is that an annoying question, Devon?
Crushes?
Yeah. Like on the other girls, weren't there a bunch of your girls your age that time?
We were so young. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It was just that one felt like summer camp. That one felt like we were all staying in a hotel and we saw movies and it was like I remember that. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
You mentioned Little Giants, and one of the things that I find so frustrating about sort of the current landscape is that I did grow up and you two grew up with these sports movies that they just don't make sports movies now. I mean, Little Giants, Rookie of the Year, Mighty Ducks, that kind of thing.
And
it's like sort of upsetting to me that genre has gone by the wayside a little bit. And I know Disney Plus has dipped their toe with the Mighty Ducks reboot and stuff. But I wish we got more of those kind of movies. I wish the kids nowadays, my nieces and nephews, got movies like that, because they're hidden sort of underneath the silliness. There were all these great lessons about teamwork and people of different people who had differences coming together to work towards this common goal. I don't know. I think it's something that's lost now.
Yeah, we don't get that a lot, but it's all a money thing. And maybe if somebody pulled the trigger and made one of those, they would, be like the young, you start to see Scream and all these movies start to come back. Maybe the sports movies will come back too, because they really are. I don't know why they stopped making them. Like Sandlot is, so good. We watched the Sandlot. It's a great movie still. And it has a lot of great messages maybe I'll do it.
What were the movies when you were a kid? What were the ones that you really latched onto? What were your favorites?
I had a video card and I would watch a lot of horror movies. I think we're 7 or 8 years old and we're allowed to rent whatever we wanted. It was a split between horror movies and like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, like just raw deal. The more cheesy, the better. Like, Stallone saying those, classic, like, see you the real on, those, I don't know. I was a sucker for those at a young age. And I think it was on the Now and Then set that Christina and I, we would go see. Pulp Fiction changed the way I looked at film. We saw that movie maybe 5-6 times during the summer. And it was that up until that point, I'd been going to set and having fun. Everything was like, just to get to hang out with all these kids and have a great time. And then I saw Pulp Fiction and I went back and I started watching movies like Rain Man and Scent of a Woman and Scarface and all these movies with these performances by these actors, and that kind of just changed everything for me. And now I wanted to do other stuff. I wanted to I was a thespian now.
Yeah.
You know?
So what's it like then working with Stallone? Recently you worked with him, right? The Escape Plan. Yeah.
Some of these movies that you saw me do, after I finished Nikita, I did a run on Nikita, and then I decided I wanted to work with these it started becoming I would like to work with Bruce Willis. I thought, just to like Travolta. I worked on 2 movies with Travolta, and he has the greatest, to sit with Travolta. He loves to tell stories about, everything from Marlon Brando to Muhammad Ali to just these stories. And I love to listen. And then to Stallone doing action, like that guy did a gunfight with Stallone. I mean, these are all
wild.
Yeah. It's like bucket list stuff. Sharon Stone played my cracked out mother in this trailer park scene. And I'm doing a scene with Sharon Stone, and she's casino good right now. You know what I mean? It's just, Guy Pearce, another one that they just make me, I go to work, I smile. I'm like, look who I'm working with. These are my childhood heroes.
This is how I feel talking to you. Like, it's kind of like a weird trippy moment for me, because I since I was a little kid, I watched you on screen, and I'm kind of having a trippy moment. Sharon Stone also just recently followed me on Instagram, and I'm so nervous she's going to unfollow me. Because I love Sharon Stone too. I'm like, I don't want that to happen.
She came to work and she didn't want any makeup, but she didn't want any hair. She didn't want anybody touching her. She got into character. She stayed in character. She kind of rocked back and forth and looked at me like this. It was wild, man. And like, she screamed at me for not setting in character, like not putting my prop back, and like, because she was crying, and like, it was a day. It was a day.
Who's been your best scene partner ever? Like, who were you blown away by the most?
Oh man, Travolta is somebody that I hope to keep working with forever, because he does everything like he wants to win an Oscar. He's committed. He's passionate. He's Stallone. There's been so many. I mean, I've been really fortunate. I think
Stallone's doing the Rocky 4. I think he's re-releasing
He just re-edited it. Yeah.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, they just re-edited it, and they got a cool documentary on why. That's probably the cooler than the re-edit, is why they chose the certain things. John Hertzfeld directed the making of the re-edit, which is on YouTube, which is worth checking out. So,
are there any movies from you when you were a kid that you think like, they should have re-edited it, or things that maybe the script was different you would like another crack at?
I don't know about as a kid, but The Fanatic, the movie I did with Travolta, got chopped to pieces because I think that they didn't realize they needed to have clearance on some of the stuff that Travolta, because Travolta, when he ties me to the bed and he starts doing all these impersonations of different horror icons and different movie people, they didn't have any clearance on that stuff, so they had to edit a lot of these. Travolta gets into he raps an entire verse of LL Cool J's "Rock the Bells," and it was the greatest thing I had ever seen in that Moose character. I don't know if you've seen the movie. He plays this really weird Moose character, and he does LL Cool J "Rock the Bells," and it's phenomenal. But of course, they can't use it. Wow, it's whoever. I mean, even if LL Cool J said it was fine, they have to go through a billion different people to get clearance. But to see a director's cut of that movie would be phenomenal, with all the stuff added back in.
Yeah. Who's on your list now that you still would love to work with?
Schwarzenegger and De Niro are the two that, like, I don't care what the script is like. If you give me one of those, I'll just show up on set. And I'd like to work with Schwarzenegger. Like, I just want to do it. And then De Niro, I have so much respect for, and Pacino and Meg Ryan is somebody that I've always.
Devon. I love her.
When a Man Loves a Woman is one of my, and it means so much more to me nowadays because I'm sober of 15 years. But she's awesome.
Wildly underrated too, and I think
wildly underrated.
I don't think people realize, even with the rom-com stuff. You've Got Mail is my all-time favorite movie, but I often think people don't realize how hard that role is. And Tom Hanks in that movie, and she plays, specifically her. She's she's not very sexy, but she's got this chemistry. And I don't know. I just think it's a hard line that character has to walk. And because it's sort of this rom-com, I think people don't realize how tough it is. And same with Sleepless in Seattle. And When a Man Loves a Woman, she's brilliant in too.
Yeah, it's funny because I go back to Warner Lofton Studios every time I have a big break in my business. I feel like you've got to train, so I go back to Warner Lofton Studios, his acting studio, and I always pick scenes from When a Man Loves a Woman. I've done that. I've done some of those scenes a billion times, and they killed it in that movie, and she's really an underrated actor.
I know. I want her to come back. You mentioned in an interview recently that Final Destination, you were sort of inspired, I think, by Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to the Halloween franchise, and you said you'd love to kind of hop back in there. Is that
was taken a little out of context? Right. The question always comes up: would you return to a Final Destination movie? I wasn't asked to return for the second one for good reasons. The producers and my agents made a decision that I needed to step away and put my feet back on earth and get it back together. And then I just never returned because the new recipe for that movie was to start fresh every movie. And I've had an absolute blast watching these young kids come in and kind of reboot it every time. But now that I've seen the Halloween movies, if they were to say, what do you think about doing a Final Destination reboot? Obviously, yeah, I think that the Halloween showed that it could work. But at the same time, if they want to, there was talk about doing a firefighter part 6. And so now I'm really intrigued to see what that would look like with a young cast of firefighters and whatever it is, the building falls down, who knows, but it's intriguing. And so.
The last Final Destination movie, I think, where it sort of tied back to your first one at the end of it. Yeah. And there was a scene that I guess you had filmed previously, but that was like jaw dropping. I remember seeing that. I was like, holy shit, that ending was good.
Here's a story for you. I didn't know that scene existed. And I get a random call from the producers asking me to come to the premiere of Final Destination 5. Sure, I guess I'll come. And they still didn't tell me. So I'm sitting in the audience and like enjoying the film like everybody else. And then all of a sudden that scene comes on. And I was just like, I'm in this film. That's me, not really, but like, there I am. I guess they brought back some old footage and cleaned it up a little bit and spliced it in. And there I was.
Oh, it was good. And I would like to see that whole franchise rebooted because I think there's really good stuff in there. Aside from the first one, I think there's really great stuff in all of those sequels. And it is such a fun concept. I think it would be fun to see in whatever way they would want to do it. Okay, I got to ask about Stan, directed by Dr. Dre, of course, the Eminem song. You sort of are the poster child for the Stans, which is now a term in our lexicon, which must be kind of wild. What do you make of the longevity of that term? And I don't know if I'm making any sense. Like, what's your take on it, sort of with distance?
I really think that the term it becoming a word in the dictionary is wild. I think it's just the kids latched onto a new word and it got legs and started to roll, and that's what it is. I'm not surprised that the video itself has such longevity. I think it was way ahead of its time. It was directed by Dr. Dre and Philip Atwell at the time. They co-directed it. The song was ahead of its time. The artist was ahead of his time. And the video doesn't surprise me that I still think it's one of the best videos. I would still put it in the top 10 videos of all time. Even I don't think anybody's really touched it as far as a storytelling video. Thriller was kind of cool and Stan was kind of cool. And I was up for a best actor in a music video that year. And it was my first time being nominated. I think it was VH1 or I don't know, MTV or something, some sort of best actor. And of all freaking years to get nominated for a best actor in music video, Christopher Walken is Fatboy Slim. And what are the chances that Christopher Walken is in a video this year? And so I lost to Christopher Walken for Fatboy Slim. And I was like, any other year, I feel like I would have taken it.
Oh man. I mean, but Stan, that lives on. And I'm curious, you must have studied the music. Did you get a take on why Eminem is so good? Does that make sense? Were you able to kind of?
Yeah. I feel, It was more so that I felt like I felt that why Dr. Dre was so good, because Eminem wasn't there a lot for me. But I mean, listen, Eminem is just amazing. But when you're around Dr. Dre, you get a feel. It's the same feeling I felt when I was with Spielberg, or you just know, you know this person is something special. So yeah, I mean, Eminem was not there a lot during the shoot, except for the couple times that we ran, and he shot his stuff on his own. And so I wish I would have had more time with Eminem and hung out with him a little bit more, but I spent a lot of time with Dre, and I really did. I really think I thought he was something special, especially being 18, 19 years old.
All of these projects we're talking about are things that I feel like will live on they've lived on for so many years, and I think they will live on forever. Things like everything from Casper to Stan. And do you understand sort of the levity of that, or does it just feel like work to you? Like they're such cultural touchstones for so many people.
It feels like work to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel, I mean, I don't know. They feel like work to me. I don't want to.
But you're in, like, it's crazy to me that you're in a handful of things that I think there's a lot of people that will take with them forever. Like all of these things that I'm asking you about are things in my own life, and I'm a pop culture junkie, but that, like, I will be on my deathbed talking about Now and Then or Little Giants or rewatching them on HBO Max or whatever. They bring me to such a pleasant place. And part of that is nostalgia. Part of that is the greatness of these films. Part of it is that a lot of these kind of movies, like we talked about, don't get made as much anymore. Yeah. But yeah, you're in a lot of them, Devon.
They really don't make these kind of Now and Then, Stand By Me, Sandlot. They really don't make these. There's just not a market for them anymore. You're either making $150 million Marvel films, or you're making, $1 million indie and hoping for the best, but they don't make these mid-range story-driven pieces anymore.
Even Idle Hands, my boyfriend and I watched that right before Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's a weird movie. And I love that. And I love that It's a weird movie that I want to see weird shit. And another reason why I think Black Friday is great, which comes out not November 19th, but it's like, I like a weird thing.
Yeah. Do you know the same producers of Now and Then did Idle Hands?
No, I didn't know that. No, who was it?
Jennifer Todd and Suzanne Todd. They also went off to do the Austin Power movies, and they're very, very. And I think Jen does the Oscars now, and Suzanne did that Crazy Mother comedy that just came out a couple of years ago. The housewife crazy. I can't remember what it's called, but it's really good.
If it's a Crazy Housewife Mother, I'm sure I've seen it. But
you've seen this one. I'm botching the name, but it's a really good one. It's a comedy with some really great female comedians in it.
I'm surprised Mother's Day. I'm surprised they haven't done another Idle Hands, because it was such a cult classic. I know it wasn't like a huge box office hit, but it really was like a cult thing. Yeah,
I just recently saw a video of Senator John McCain speaking out about Idle Hands. I had never seen before. We got pulled out of theaters in a couple different states, and all the TV ads were pulled down, all the print ads were pulled down, because it came out a week after Columbine happened. So we were a movie about a kid who, I guess, his hand goes on a killing rampage in this high school, and so all of a sudden, McCain is on the news talking about these movies being responsible for violence, and because whatever steers you away from the gun talk.
It's weird to look back at movies from that time. Even Scream 3 I rewatched recently, which I think had a similar thing where it was maybe re-edited or some stuff was taken out because of that time.
Yeah.
Okay, Devon, tell me about Black Friday. Have you ever gone out on Black Friday and shopped?
No, it scares the hell out of me. Like you don't see good Black Friday videos. You only see the chaos. I love watching Black Friday videos. I'm a sucker for, like, the doors breaking down and people just going crazy. And that's kind of what was so appealing about the script, is like, what if you took that to the next level, where these people are crazy, but now they're possessed crazy. And it's the first time since Idle Hands or Slackers that I kind of revisited comedy. I went into it thinking I just got to be fearless. I just got to go in and just have fun. And it was a great experience.
Was there ever a toy that you really wanted, a Christmas toy, like a Nintendo or something that was like, that was the toy?
Okay, so I'm from Canada, and in the 80s in Canada, we didn't get, we got like GI Joes we didn't get everything. We got kind of some stuff, like the latest He-Man figures came out, and we'd have a billion Moss Man on the shelf, and that's it. Like, that's what you can have, Canada. You get Moss Man.
That's so sad.
You're not getting He-Man or Skeletor. Okay, that's it. I don't know why that was, but in Canada, that you'd have to you really struggled for the good toys.
Yeah. So, well, Devon, I know
now I buy them all. I had the tradition where I would go away and I would find on my off time, I would go find an antique store and I would buy like the Optimus Prime or like the Ninja Turtle, and I put them all in a box that my kids can't touch, like all the toys that I wanted, the Destro, the whatever it was that I wanted.
I got all my toys in my office. I got Beanie Babies here. I got all of it. Yeah, Devon, it was such a pleasure talking to you. I'm so, your career, you're so amazing, and I can't wait to see what you do next, how you keep reinventing yourself. And you mean so much to such a large generation of people. So thank you so much for taking the time. Black Friday is out Friday, November 19th. Everyone could check it out on demand. Also watch Hunter x Hunter if you want something gory and crazy. It's really great. Devon, I didn't even get to ask you about Chucky, the TV series, which is fantastic. And I didn't even get to ask you about Wild America. We need JTT back.
Well, you know what? We'll work on getting JTT on a dual interview on the say. And you can interview both of us.
You don't even know. Like, I would go fucking nuts. JTT.
You know what? I would have more luck getting Macaulay Culkin or like something like that. But JTT just went off and like went a different. He's just a successful doing something. He didn't want to act anymore, and he went off and did whatever the hell he wants to do. And good on him, man.
He's so elusive. What I would give to talk to him about all that stuff.
Yeah, it would be great.
Devon, truly a pleasure. Thank you so much.